Hey guys, welcome to the Dude Seriously Show. Well, we have been on the road to Infinity War for 17 weeks now, and it has brought us to Thor Ragnarok. Now, if you'll remember, we did Black Panther when it was out in theaters, so this is our truly last Road to Infinity War episode before the big one in just a few days. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Molly.
I'm Ben.
I'm Jared.
And we're talking Thor Ragnarok.
Because that's what heroes do.
So Thor Ragnarok, man, this movie just came out of nowhere with how exciting it was. You know, it came out and it was gonna be dark. Even the original title card looked so dark. It kind of looked like the Surtur opening, which we'll get to. But I am just amped to hear everybody's thoughts on this movie.
I'm trying to control myself or I'm going to blow up here. I'm so excited to talk about this. The anticipation for this was incredible, and I think it was well worth the payoff. This is my favorite Marvel movie. Of course, I'm biased, but it's got everything. Humor, comedy, I love it. The action, the visuals, the music. It's got your drama, your sadness, everything. Love this movie. Mm-hmm.
I thought it was absolutely probably one of my favorites. They touch on so many different things in this movie, and you really get to see Thor develop as a character.
There's really nowhere that this movie falls short for me. I mean, just everything is so awesome. And Taika Waititi, really a different director. He did What We Do in the Shadows and some other kind of strange-ish movies before this. So it's like, wonder how he'll handle a superhero film. And he did it with absolute mastery. I love this movie.
So again, I've never really made a list of my Marvel top 5, top 10.
I
After
know,
all
these
this
weeks.
17 weeks, you would have figured I would have had something put together. Apparently not.
Yeah.
This is probably my number one. Hands down, I can't think of another Marvel movie that makes me this excited to watch. I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times.
It's so fun.
It is. So this is Molly and I's first review together, being a married couple. Keep the kids at the different parts of the table. We've got to keep our hands to each other. But when we always decorate the table with props. And coming to this review, I guess it really just kind of hit home and the light bulb went off. We're Thor fans because a lot of this stuff is ours. And again, I think I've said in past reviews that I kind of enjoy the mythos behind Thor and that kind of magical Asgardian, different take on everything. And it obviously shows. So love this movie. It's my number one. And I'm super excited for the review.
Yeah, and I mean, just kicking it off, the intro.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh, we've got Thor going up against Surtur. And just, we finally get to see Thor beat Thor. I mean,
Finally.
Yeah, he's cool, he's funny, he's badass. I mean, it's just, we could do the entire review on the opening scene.
I
It's
think
that
it
amazing.
perfectly sets the tone for the entire film. You get to see him in his humor. It's a long story, but basically I'm a bit of a hero. And as you and I were talking before we were filming, it really catches the audience up to what he's been up to. And I know Taika Waititi said we wanted that Road Warrior Thor. That's the look we're going for. He's been out. He's been doing all these missions.
Right.
And so he's kind of got that rugged look going on. And as you said, you got Surtur, voiced by the incredible Clancy Brown, probably most notable for Highlander. And
Mr. Krabs.
Right, you got that. And you get the humor with Thor, the visuals just mind-blowing.
So if we have the chum bucket and the Krusty Krab, Thor the Dark World is the chum bucket.
It's not the best.
Oh my gosh.
And you got to mention the Immigrant Song.
And
Use the
Praise
Immigrant
be.
Song. And I know Taika Waititi said when he was pitching, basically selling himself so that I should direct this movie, he used the Immigrant Song. And the people at Marvel said, we have no idea who that is. We've never heard this song.
What?
It's Led Zeppelin is one of the
you
most
serious?
famous songs ever. And he was amazed that, and I am too, it's never been used in a Thor movie. I mean, it's a Viking story right there.
Talking about soundtracks of movies, obviously we have Guardians of the Galaxy that does a wonderful job of utilizing soundtracks for certain plots and ideas in the movie. This is on that level. It's perfect.
Talking about perfect placement, Asgard in this. It's just depicted so well.
Love it.
You know, Thor comes back to Asgard, we get Scourge,
But
we
it's on
see
fire.
the Bifrost. Well, at the end it is.
Spoiler alert.
True, I suppose this movie is new enough we could do spoilers, but too late. So, just Asgard, we see, Odin, Loki as Odin in the play, and it's perfectly Shakespearean, but Also, Whitetian with the
Yeah.
humor. And if this is the first use of Whitetian, yeah, I think it might be.
But
But
it's stuck now. Hashtag. Use that from now on.
we see Anthony Hopkins playing Odin, but it's Loki playing Odin, and it's just like, oh shit.
Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
is just top tier, and you look at him and you think of him as Loki when he plays that part,
know.
which just kind of just it's an homage to
Especially
like how great he is.
Watching it a second time or a third time, you're just like, it gets better every time you watch it because you're just like, wow,
nails
this
it.
guy.
As soon as he looks and sees Thor and says, "Oh shit," you know you're in for a treat to see what he's about to do.
Yeah, and it's fun too because Ragnarok, yeah, it's the third Thor movie. It's the fifth appearance of Thor as a main character. 2
Right.
Avengers, 3 Thor movies. But you don't really need to have seen the other 2 Thor movies to get
Yeah.
into this one because it explains it so well with like one-liners, like
Yep.
about Jane Foster. You know, she's completely written out of this movie.
Thank
in
God.
A one-liner.
All right.
And there's so many points like that. And again, this movie is so compact and there's so much going on in a good way that we could literally do our review on specific points of it. But we're going to try to keep it as concise as possible.
We're really, really excited.
Really excited.
I
if you
do want to
can't tell.
mention the little trivia with Carl Urban as Scourge, his intro,
Yeah.
and he references the 2 guns as Dez and Troy, and he found them in Texas. For football fans in Texas, Dez Bryant and Troy Aikman, legendary Dallas Cowboys players.
Oh my God.
I did
I'm
not
assuming
even
that's
notice
a
that.
nod
I never
to
put
that.
those 2 together.
But yeah, there's that, and he worked with Clancy Brown in a Viking movie, Pathfinder.
Yes.
Clancy Brown was the
Yep.
Viking, and Carl Urban was the young warrior, and so there's that little tie-in.
There's a lot of nods in this
Yeah.
movie to a bunch
Sure.
of different stuff, and it's all fun.
But while we're on Asgard, we also have this connection with, Sam Neill playing the Odin in the play, and then Jeff Goldblum playing the Grandmaster. There's your Jurassic Park connection. So although they never meet on screen, it's like there are these little connections, and it goes to show how eclectic the casting of these Marvel movies have really become.
Very
Definitely.
diverse, wide range.
Speaking of eclectic and Jeff Goldblum,
Oh my gosh, yes. That dude is just,
He's wild.
he's the man. And he's the perfect casting for the Grandmaster. We see him come in and he's just staring at the camera, and it's like, I swear, they literally just put Jeff Goldblum in a gold bathrobe and it was like, be yourself.
Goldblum.
And
Yeah,
for
in
the whole
space.
time, I feel like he probably didn't, I feel like he was just on and offset the Grandmaster, or if you want to refer to the Grandmaster as just Jeff Goldblum.
it's almost like he doesn't have to act.
Right,
He's just himself.
being Jeff
Just
Goldblum.
turn him loose, and there you go.
And I believe that you said a lot of this movie was improv.
I think they said about 80% is improv. And I know Taika said we had the goal, this is what we're trying to accomplish in this scene, and here you guys go. And I know Hemsworth really enjoyed that because he gets to showcase his comedic talent, and it's
Yeah.
that, evolution of Thor.
Definitely.
Right.
Some of my favorite comedic moments with Thor in this movie are in the Doctor Strange scene.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great scene.
That is
Great
just,
scene.
The beard.
I mean, it's like an extended cameo, really,
Yeah.
but it is just so cool because Doctor Strange is proper, and we saw in his film that Doctor Strange can joke a little bit,
Yeah.
but he has evolved as a sorcerer so
Right.
much that he's very stoic and things like that. And I love when they're talking on the seats and Thor says, "Oh well, you could have called me, send an electronic letter, an
Oh
email."
man.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That's
"Oh
good.
well, do you have a phone or a computer?" No, what
No.
for?"
What for?
It's like these little moments are so great.
Eggs and Benedict Cumberbatch is just kind of totally mature to do. I'm gonna keep doing that meme just because it's so much
Well,
fun.
I have a question. Eggs and Benedict Cumberbatch?
I mean,
Isn't
that's
the
what it
Benedict
is.
the way the eggs are prepared?
It's
I
Eggs
mean-
Benedict.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Eggs Benedict.
Okay, fine.
Eggs and
Cucumber
Benedict.
Patch does a really good job of, transforming into Doctor Strange with the gloves, the hair,
Yeah.
his attitude. He's matured. It's so well, and it's great.
One thing I'll say is the trailers gave that away. And I think it would have been a really nice surprise for
That's
Doctor
true.
Strange to
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah.
One of the TV spots gave it away, and I suppose that's the downside of being a fan in this age of the internet is stuff's gonna get spoiled.
Yeah.
It's hard to go into a movie without knowing these things, but whenever Thor picks up the business card,
Yeah.
if I didn't know
Yeah.
and I saw that, I think I would have had a meltdown in the theater when it came.
Right.
on
I mean, they
screen.
did have the end credit scene where he was
Yeah.
with Thor. So
Oh,
I
true,
feel like you
true,
kind of
true.
expected it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're going with.
I guess that negates what I just said a little bit. But again, the surprise would have been nice.
Yeah.
You know,
It's still a cool scene seeing the card picked up.
yeah, it is. It is cool.
But even without that, it's still
Ragnaroks.
you wouldn't even need it. It would just be the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you know, talking about maybe potentially seeing characters again, there is Hela in this movie, and she is just amazing. Definitively
My
my
fave.
favorite MCU villain to date.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
She's awesome. She's great. She's one of these characters that is just evil for the sake of being evil. I think you can over-explain characters
Right.
sometimes. And yeah, we get her backstory. We understand why she does what she does, but there's not a ton of depth there, but it's okay.
It's enough.
Yeah.
It's who she is. That's what she's meant to do. It's what she's put on Asgard originally to do. She is the goddess of death. And I feel like with a lot of female characters, they're always trying to prove something. And I feel like Hela is not out to prove anything to anyone else but
Yeah.
herself. And
She's proven.
She's doing it to be herself.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
And I think too, when you look at a lot of these Norse, Greek gods, they really kind of just exist for the purpose
One
of what they
purpose.
exist
Yeah.
for. And
Their
so
title.
It's kind of poetic in that way that she just exists just to be the goddess of death, and
Right.
that's what she does.
She
and-
destroys and
Yeah.
conquers.
But like she makes it appealing because I mean it's Kate Blanchett. Like you can't like watch her and not be completely entranced by her. And I know Jonathan agrees with me at least.
Might have a little character crush going on
Right.
over here.
Just a little.
but
a little.
she just
No
kind
shame.
of sucks everybody in and you're like, wow, I'm really attracted to this person, but I'm also scared, terrified of her. She brings it to the
You
table.
love her and hate
She's-
her at the
yes.
same time.
It's kind of
Yes.
weird when somebody else describes exactly how you're feeling.
Yeah, well, she's good at that. Very good at that.
There you go.
As we all know, I stumble on my own words. I do that right.
Case in point.
You're right. Yeah.
So blah, blah, blah,
Leave
blah,
that
blah.
in because that's just horrible.
Too funny. Well, speaking of too funny, we end up on Sakaar, which is where a lot of the humor really kind of kicks into
Yep.
gear. Thor finds himself on Sakaar, these junkers, and we see Thor in his element for the first time without his hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's
heartbreaking
Yeah,
when he reaches out for it.
Yeah, the scene, and it gets me every time where he goes to get that hammer, and it's, okay, I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, they get in the fight, the cape is torn, so you're slowly seeing the character change there. And even going back when Hela arrives, right before that, you see the lightning in the fingers when he's getting furious with
Yeah.
Loki. So it's kind of a foreshadow of things to come, and
Yep.
you start seeing the changes.
It kind of sets up the character for where he's going to go. And Valkyrie comes in, which is our introduction to her character, Tessa Thompson, really great actress. And she kind of saves him, I guess, and takes him to the Grandmaster. And I don't know, I think that Valkyrie is a really interesting character, but I think she could have been more interesting if the writing didn't depend her so much on her drinking. I think
Yeah.
that every time she opens her mouth just about, it's something about drinking or something about her drinking problem. And I think that that could have been explored a little more deeply than comedically, you know? It's just like everything she says has to do with drinking. And
She's trying too hard, I think,
Yeah.
to be tough and macho. And I'm just going to say it, she's my least favorite part of this movie.
yeah, if I had to
guess-
pick one,
yeah.
And the little war paint, to me, looks like they put white out on her. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just not a fan.
There was a lot of potential there that was
Yeah.
lost, especially when, fast forwarding in the movie just a little bit, when her and Loki get together and he kind of peers into what she went through to become the drinking person that she is now. They could have built on that so much to make her into a very well-established heroine.
yeah, I think they show that she's worn, you know, that the past has hurt her and that she's trying to run away from it and find a new thing. And that, I think that that's all great. I think that that plays into her character. That kind of comes into
Right.
her arc where we may see her in future films. It's just the drinking thing. The reliance on that is the joke. It's kind of like when you make a joke and then you just beat it like a dead horse
Yeah,
over
and it becomes
over
not
and
funny at
over
that
again.
point. Like
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
falling off at the beginning, like that would have set the tone for what she is as a character if they wanted to play that part with the drinking being involved, but they overdid it.
Hopefully they take her character and build on it in some future movies, because like I said, with Loki, when he peers into what she's going through or went through, there's some stuff there for a potential story for her upbringing to that point, especially with Hela, that could potentially take it places, but it just didn't do it in this movie.
Well, Valkyrie is not the only character that I would like to see in a future movie. We have to talk about the man, Korg. Oh my God, Korg came out of left field.
Yeah.
He's not really in any of the marketing. And so when
Right.
Thor's thrown into the jail and Korg's like, hey, take it easy, man. It's like, what is going on? Just as soon as you think this movie could not possibly get any more zany, it does.
See this tough looking, like, oh God, I would not want to mess with that guy. But he's just like your college roommate sitting on the couch, like eating a pizza. That's all I can equate it to is, he's just, making a comment here and there. It's like he doesn't really bother anybody, but he's just, along for the ride. So
Korg with a bag of chips. Hey man, you saw the revolution? Just, you want to join us in here?
Now Korg is the college roommate. I want to see a Ragnarok prequel
Yes.
where Korg and Meek are
oh my
college
God,
roommates.
yes.
That's
Meek,
funny.
you got an A. All right. I know Taika Waititi said the idea behind him is a lot of these bouncers in New Zealand, they look tough and you don't want to mess with them. And then you hear them talk and it's like, oh, well, okay. And as he said, he's probably the last guy that needs to be starting a revolution. He wouldn't know how to lead that, but that's the humor in it.
Loki definitely takes advantage of that.
Yes, he does.
I think it's funny. Taika Waititi, the director, did the motion capture and voice of Korg in the film. For those that
Yep.
don't know,
He said it's hard to be taken seriously wearing this motion capture suit and directing everybody.
Yeah.
totally. But what gets me is he writes himself in as the best character.
Absolutely.
And now he can be like, oh yeah, everybody loves Korg, so give me a call, Marvel. I don't have to direct it, but I have to be in it because everybody wants to see more Korg.
Get that paycheck.
This is my dream team. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 19. We've got Rocket Raccoon. We've got middle-aged Groot because we've seen every other age, so we've got to see middle-aged Groot, I guess. Star-Lord, Korg, and Meek.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to see.
Dream team.
Yep.
That
For
would be
sure.
phenomenal.
Because superhero movies are going to go forever, and almost everybody I just mentioned could be CG. So why not?
Can you
Meek's
imagine that
alive.
dynamic?
Yeah, it would be amazing.
It would be incredible.
Hey man, my name's Korg. I don't care what your name is. I am Groot. Oh hey man, I'm Korg. This is my friend Meek. I am Groot. Why you keep saying that? That's kind of his thing. He only says one thing. Oh, maybe I should just tell everyone I'm Korg. It'd be great. I'd watch that
It'd be
movie.
amazing.
Groot's trying to plant himself in Korg's rocks.
No, I don't want to see that
That's
movie.
getting a little
Okay,
weird.
yeah, that's
That's
a
a
little
little
out
no,
there. It's rule of 42.
Oh.
And
Well,
it's in my mind. I can't.
Yeah.
It's in my brain.
Jared always finds a way to take the Dude Seriously show and make it
Different
his own.
direction.
Yeah. We're not that
Kind of like
So I
Taika
don't lead the
Waititi.
charge.
We're not that kind of show, Jared.
Well, I mean,
Don't. Whatever you're thinking, don't.
yes, ma'am.
I see where this is going.
Well, seeing where things are going, to make another seamless transition, Hulk busts through those doors.
Oh.
That's the contender that the Grandmaster has been talking about.
I love that intro, the build up to it. Jeff Goldblum's announcing him, you get the green clouds going everywhere. I think that's awesome. And Thor has no idea what's coming.
And once again, in the digital age and all the toys and stuff, it's hard to watch these movies and be totally surprised. But could you even imagine how cool that would have been to be in the theater and see Hulk bust through if you didn't know
Oh,
that
yeah.
he was
Right.
going to be there? Like, you would just be, oh my God.
Mind
You would be
blown.
as excited
Just
as
like
Thor
Thor.
was.
Yep.
So I actually heard that he's a friend from work was suggested by a Make-A-Wish, a little boy that was visiting set. I guess they were filming that scene that day and they were telling him what was going on and the little boy said, oh, you should say he's a friend from work. And everybody on set was like, wow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It works.
Absolutely perfect. Smart kid.
Yep. Maybe they should have some really young kids that, don't know any better how to write,
Right.
suggest some
Give
lines.
suggestions.
because-
It's the little things.
Yeah.
Have like a little panel, and
Totally.
ask them questions and see where it should go. Because this movie is not necessarily a kid movie necessarily.
Yeah,
it's
no.
kind of like in between, but
for
it
everybody.
touches on
Yeah.
everything for every age group, and I think that's why it's so appealing.
So on Sakaar, they flat out stated that is the love letter to Jack Kirby. The colors, I mean, even the little details, paintings in the Grandmaster's suite.
Yeah.
They said that is our tribute to Jack Kirby, and I think they did a dynamite job with it.
I heard
Gorgeous.
they literally pulled his artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like used like backgrounds from like Fantastic Four comics and zoomed in and like put those in the Grandmaster's chamber like that. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's a very nice tribute, great colors.
Yeah.
Brings a lot, I think, to the film.
Definitely.
Which that kind of leads into the arena battle from that point. And we haven't done your Stan Lee cameo with him cutting his hair.
Don't you move. My hands aren't as steady as they used to be.
Now don't you move. My hands aren't as steady as they used to be.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling.
She made a pretty good comment. I mean, Thor is obviously going to be iconic with his hair from this point on, being long, but she's like, you don't look that bad with his haircut. And I tend to agree with that.
As a female, I have, my opinions. And Chris Hemsworth is not, like, I find Tom Hiddleston a little bit more my type, I guess. I don't know why, but I've always been like, oh yeah, he's a pretty boy, but whatever. But then when I saw him with the short hair, I was like, it works for him, and even with, the haircut and he's upset about it, it works for him in the end, and he makes it work for him. And I think that's the funniest.
The haircut, like the real reason.
No, do not know the real reason.
He
Please
said,
tell me.
I'm sick and tired of wearing a wig and having to be in the makeup chair for 2+ hours every day. So
There you go.
let's do away with the wig. And
Don't
again,
blame him.
part of the character development. It's a new Thor.
They
No
strip
more
away
L'Oreal
his
hair.
comforts. Yeah.
Thorio.
Thorio,
yes. Oh my
because
goodness.
Hemsworth
Yes.
it, right?
I forgot about that. So you get his haircut, and then the first time you see it is when he comes into the arena. Jeff Goldblum's announcing everybody, talking about the contender, Lord of Thunder.
Lord of Thunder.
And then he starts to talk about the champion, the defender. And then, lo and behold, Hulk breaks through, and Thor is so excited. And obviously, like Jonathan said earlier, with all the toys and stuff, like, that would be the reaction you would have if you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And from that point, when Odin dies, you see the little sparkles on his finger, and it just kind of really, as they progressively fight through the battle, you really see Thor start to tap into that. And I wonder if it's kind of like the emotion thing with Mjolnir. Molly made the comment while we were watching the movie, it's a lot like Yondu's arrow. He uses his heart. And I feel like because of that connection with Thor and Mjolnir, he doesn't have that anymore, so he's just tapping to his raw emotion. And once Hulk starts pounding the crap out of him, oh boy, things just start to light up.
And you've had that debate since these characters came out. Well, who's more powerful, Hulk, Thor, and everybody has their opinion.
Strongest Avenger.
I just go back to Stan Lee, and he's flat out said it's going to be Thor. And Taika
It's been
said,
proven in the comics,
we
too.
want to show he is the God of Thunder,
Yeah.
and that's your first glimpse.
Yeah.
I remember when that scene happened, the whole theater just dead silent. Oh wow! I mean, you get chills.
You and I, we saw it together
Yeah.
on opening night, and it was just.
He's like,
you could hear a pin drop.
Oh my God! Yeah, it was great.
It's the Grandmaster's reaction at that point, like, what the crap
Even
is
Loki.
going on?
Loki
I
Yeah.
think no one expected, Thor to, even with as strong as he was, I feel like nobody expected the rivalry to be as strong as it was in the arena, because Loki's immediate reaction is, I've got to get out of here, and the Grandmaster's confused because he doesn't think anything's going to happen, that it's going to shake things up, but he
And
doesn't.
Thor doesn't want to
actually-
fight him. Like
No.
he really doesn't.
It's
wanna
actually a
fight
pretty good point for Tom Hiddleston, too, with his reaction, because he's only been there for a few weeks. He's been building that relationship with Grandmaster. So I don't think he even knew, obviously,
Yeah, he
that it
didn't.
was Hulk. So that's when he was freaking out, too.
Yeah.
So everybody's has their own reaction, besides Jeff Goldblum, who already knows who it is, of like, oh, okay, that's who it is. And leading from Loki to another one of his reactions, the nod of how excited he is when Thor gets thrown around.
That's how it feels.
Yes.
Nice little tribute.
Tom Hiddleston actually said that he had so much fun doing that scene because it
karma.
was just so exciting.
It's karma.
That and then you get that reference and then the lullaby.
Oh,
Thor
my
tries to
goodness.
put him back. I mean, everybody died watching that. Great.
It's funny because he does it even after he changes back into Banner. He keeps doing the lullaby, and I feel like it's still an apology because it
Yep.
just doesn't work.
Yep. I have to mention, I think, best scene in all of Marvel movies. You can agree, disagree. When Thor goes to visit Odin in the field. He's missing his eye. He feels like this is it. I can't do it. I'm not as strong as her. I don't have my hammer. And Odin delivers that line, are you Thor, the god of hammers? And explains that's not your source of strength. It's not your power. And that scene just gets me every single time because it really establishes he's the god of thunder. And, you know, I'm not as strong as you know, you're stronger. And he comes back in the lightning dissension with Immigrant Song, just
Yep.
absolutely incredible. I can't put it into words how awesome that is.
It is so powerful. And that final battle with Hela, too, is really cool.
Intense.
Yeah, she has some of those, you know, infamous villainous lines where she's fighting and she says just kind of rubbish lines and what have you.
Yeah.
But seeing her take out Thor's eye,
That was brutal.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
brutal.
Did not see that coming.
Even
Neither
she
did he.
reacts that way. She's
you
like,
can't see
ooh.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just amazing. The movie just culminates on so many things. It tells a really dark story while keeping a positive, fun tone with the humor. And this is up there for me. This is one of my favorites for sure.
Absolutely.
It's got everything. Humor,
does.
visuals, action. I think it's the best action of all the Marvel films.
Yeah, it's
Great
up there.
characters.
And again, like we talked about at the beginning, Taika Waititi is not the kind of director you would expect to deliver like this, but he totally did, and it's definitely one of my favorites.
It's a keeper.
For sure. I would say it's number one for me, honestly. And, you know, if I had to chalk it up to anything, it'd probably be, you know, overall it's a great film, but Hela made it for me, basically.
She's the best villain.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'd put it number one. To me, it is what I go to the movies for. An escape from reality. It's fun. It's entertaining. It gives me all the elements.
Yeah, Civil War is my number one, but you know, I said that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was number 2, but in rewatching Ragnarok, man, this is just good. It might be my number 2. If not number 2, number 3. So it's in the top 3, fluctuating between
That's
2 and
okay.
3 for me. Hey, I'm coming to terms, you know. Where's it rank for you?
It's definitely number one. It's just one of those I can always put on the TV and just enjoy the heck out of it.
Yep.
There's just so many good aspects and elements of this movie, and it just all comes together in a perfect way.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. So with that, it's crazy to say this, but we are bringing our Road to Infinity War review series to a close. To everybody that's been on the journey with us, thank you so much. This has just been so fun to sit down with some of my best friends and just go through these movies. It has been absolutely crazy. And it all started with us doing Iron Man.
Yes, sir.
And
Is it fair to say, for those about to Ragnarok, fire, we salute you.
oh yes. So that concludes our thoughts on Thor Ragnarok. Dude, seriously, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back in just a few days for Avengers Infinity War.
Can't wait.
I have chills thinking about it. Dude, seriously, we'll see you on the next one.
Hey there. You guys alright?
I've been waiting for 30 minutes.
We were watching Thor Ragnarok.
You guys watched Thor Ragnarok? It's a shame. I would have liked to have seen it.